Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So today we have an interesting puzzle here. There's a few rule sets in this one, so we're going to have to go through them all, but there's nothing unusual or anything like that on them. It just is a jumble of rule sets, if you will, which is probably why this thing is called Jumb-row Puzzle Pack. This is by Vedvart. We just did a puzzle by Vedvart not too long ago, so that's awesome. Looks like they're active, and I've seen some of them now, so we might see some more of their work coming up. We don't know. That said, let's just jump into this one and check out the rules and see what's going on. So we've got normal Sudoku apply. So every row, every column, and every 3x3 box contain the digits 1 through 9 once each. Then we've got killer cages. So we have 3 of those. So it just means that whatever the cages, how many cells there are, those must add up to the digit in the top left corner. So that's a 7. These two add up to 7. Then we've got skyscrapers. So digits in the grid represent skyscrapers of that height. Higher skyscrapers obscure smaller ones. Clues outside the grid show the number of visible skyscrapers in that row column from the clue's direction of view. So we have 2 of those. This one is a 7. It just means that we can see 7 skyscrapers. And the skyscraper height is going by the value. So 1 is 1 story, 2 is 2 story, 3 is 3 stories, etc., etc., etc. And if you had like a 4 here, you would never be able to see the 3, 2, or 1 if they were behind them. So the 4 would obscure those guys and would not allow them to be added to this value. Same thing goes for the 2. You can only see 2 of the skyscrapers by what this one says. So you'd have some value that's blocking a bunch of the other ones. And that's how those work. Then we've got German whispers. So adjacent digits on a green German whisper line must have a difference of at least 5. Now I'm going to have to point out which ones are which because they are not otherwise designated except for color. So if anyone has color blindness, that could be an issue. But this is our German whisper line. This is the only one that's a German whisper. And the digits on this one must differ by 5. So if this is a 4, this would have to be a 9, this would have to go down low again, etc., 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 stuff like that. Then we've got our Dutch whispers, so adjacent digits on an orange Dutch whisper, and this is the only orange Dutch whisper. Digits on an orange Dutch whisper line have a distance of at least 4, so it's a cousin to the German whispers. So whatever this digit is, this one must be 4 away from it. This one must be 4 away from the last one, etc. Again, then we have Renban, so digits on purple lines. These are both purple lines, so these are the Renban lines here. Digits on a purple Renban line form a set of consecutive non-repeating digits in any order. So these 4 digits must be a set of consecutive digits, but they can be in any order. So if it was a 1, 2, 3, 4, this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, or something like that. Doesn't matter. And then the final rule set is the Kropki dot pairs. So digits separated by a white Kropki dot are consecutive. So these are the consecutive white dots. And digits separated by a black dot or a 1 to 2 ratio, i.e. one is double the other. Exactly how I would have said it. So this one here, this one is double of this one, or that one is double of that one. Either way, i.e. one is double, one is half the other one. And same with these guys. So those are the rules. There's a few of them, but like I said, there's nothing out there. There's nothing where you have to necessarily check back at your rule sets to make sure you're not missing anything, like stuff like that. There just happens to be a number of different, fairly common Sudoku variant rule sets going on here. So with that said, we will have the description in the below. In the below? We will have the description in the below. We're doing great. We'll have the link to the puzzle in the description below. Those are how words work. And you all can play along if you so desire. So with that said, let's get started on this thing. Now, where are we starting? There's a couple of things I noticed right off the bat. This 17 must be a 9-8. So we'll get those obvious things in here. Now, if this is a 9-8 pair and we have a 7 clue here, every single one of these is going to have to be seen from this point, because no matter how you put this 9-8, these two values will always be lower than, so they'll always be obscured by these. It also means that these have to be in order, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the 8 cannot be behind the 9, otherwise it would have 3 digits, or 3 skyscrapers that are obscured. So we have that. Now, like we said, these have to all be in some ascending order so we can see all of them. So how do we make a 7? Well, 1, 6 is one of the ways, but we can't put 1, 6 because we can only put a 7 at some point and the other digits would be obscured. So that doesn't work. The other way, or one of the other ways, is 2, 5. Again, we can't put a 2, 5 because we'd have to put 6 and 7, and then you have one value that's obscured, and we only have 6 to get to the 7 clue. So therefore, this must be a 3, 4, this must be the 3, this must be the 4, and we get a little snowflake in the corner, and that forces this to be 5, 6, and 7. Therefore, these are 1s and 2s. Okay. Now that we've got that out of the way, the other things I noticed, and I'm not sure if this comes into play yet, it probably is a nice setup for how to start differentiating some of these other ones. But this guy right here is pretty much as obvious as you can get as to what these must be. There's only certain things you can put on black Kropki dots. You can't use 5, 7, or 9. There's 2 other sets that can work together. One is 3, 6. This obviously can't be 3, 6. So it must be from the 1, 2, 4, 8 grouping. These have to be the extreme digits, i.e. 1, 8, and these must be the middling digits, i.e. 2, 4. Now, okay, we did not have anything looking back here yet, but now that we know this is a 1, 2, 4, 8, what does this one become? It has to be 3, 6. The only thing left over, and we have a 3. So put the 6 and the 3 in, and we are moving. Now, do we have... So we know a 5 has to be over here. We don't necessarily know the layout of the other digits on this row just yet. Now, the next thing, I don't know that this 2 is super useful, because we can essentially put an 8 here, and then the 9 can go anywhere, and then everything in between will be obscured. So there's plenty of ways that this could go about, I guess. I mean, the 8, well, no, we can't necessarily say anything specifically about the 8 either, because while we could put an 8 here and a 9 out here, and these could be whatever, we could also have the 9 be here with some low digit, and the 8 could go anywhere. So we'll have to come back to that in a second. Now, okay, let's think about 6s. And why 6s specifically? Well, because we have 2 of them now, and we have a German whisper. Now, on a German whisper, the 2 digits which are very constrained are 6s and 4s, because you can only put 1 digit with either one of them. If it's a 6, it goes with a 1. If it's a 4, it goes with a 9. This can't be a 6 because of this guy now. Anything in the middle can't be 6s, so there is a 6 over here somewhere. Now, we can't necessarily say which one of this is, because if this is a 6, this could be the 1, and it doesn't affect anything. Now, the question is, the 4 does the same thing, because the 4 sees these. We can't put a 4 in the middle. One of these is a 4. So we're getting somewhere here. We got the 4 and the 6 pushed off to the side. Now, again, we can't necessarily say one of these is a 4 or a 6, because we could have some grouping of digits that works in here. So what else does that say to us? I don't think there's any way you can really get into this German whisper at this point until we find something else out. So let's think about this 5 and how it interacts with this white Kropki, because that was the other thing I started thinking about. Okay, actually this 5 is a lot easier than I thought it might be, if I really thought about it, which I didn't until right now. So what do we know the two options for a 2 cell 5? It's 1, 4, or 2, 3. How can we ever make a 2, 3 work? Because they're on these Renban lines. If we were to put a 2 here and a 3 here, what goes with the 2 on the Renban? A 1, and nothing else. Doesn't work. If we were to put a 2 here and the 3 here, what goes with the 2? A 1 and nothing else. This can never be 2, 3. And now we can determine which one is the 1 and the 4 as well by using that same logic. Because if we put a 1 here, these have to be 2, 3, and 4 breaks. So this is 4. This is 1. Therefore, we know these are a 2, 3 because 1, 2, 3. And we know this has to be from 5, 6, and 7 because we have to be consecutive 4, but we can't use 1, 2, or 3. This can't be 6. This can't be 5. We also now know this is 8 and 9. So that 8, 9 is interesting because what does it tell us? It tells us that this digit here, okay, well, let's think of it a little bit. Let's turn it a little bit. We cannot put a 9 in any of these. We know this one couldn't be, but now we definitely know there's no 9s. So the 9 is going to be one of the 2 that we can see. What does that tell us? It tells us that this digit here has to be somewhat high, and it doesn't tell us what this digit is, but it's giving us a concept. This digit here has to be high enough where it can protect every lower digit until we get to a 9. And it can't be an 8. So we've ruled out the 8 in here as well. Now, there's going to be some logic where all this works together in a way that can be done. So let's think about it. This guy here is going to be somewhat high, isn't it? Because we can't do 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6. It has to have 5, 6, 7, 8s, and 9s in it. This can't be 6, this can't be 7, this can't be 8. Can we use those reductions? 5, 6, 7 works, 5, 6, 7 works. 6, 5, this can't be 6. We can pick through these a little bit. So let's look at this 5, 7, 9 because it's the most reduced at the moment. This could be 5, 6, 7. I'm going to remove these for now because I'll get confused. It happens easy. We can't go lower, so it's 5. Let's get my tool out here. 5, 6, 7 is possible. If this is a 7, it cannot be 7, 8, 9, because we just said this 2 can't be able to see all of those digits. And if this is 7, 8, 9, it would see every digit because we couldn't put anything higher before it. So the only way the 7 could work was 7, 6, 5. Now the 9 obviously would say this is 8 and 7. So we did reduce this down quite a bit. And is it possible that this isn't a 9? Let's think about that for a second. If it's not a 9, the 9 at minimum goes here. So we'd have to put so if we put the 9, if this isn't the 9, we'd have to put the 9 out here. We'd also have to put an 8 in one of these 2, or 3 behind the 9. because we're going to have a high digit over here, and we won't be able to see the 8. So that would remove the 9 and the 8 from the equation, which would leave this being a 5, 6, 7. But if we have 5, 6, and 7, and it doesn't matter in which order it is, there's always going to be a value less than 7 in here. Then we're going to see a 7. Therefore, we have 2 digits already seen. Then we get to our 9. So that will break. So this has to be 9, 8, 8 and 7. Okay. What else? Let's just, one of these is 6. Let's just do a little bit of work here. I think that's about all we can actually do. We can also say one of these is a 4 by Sudoku. Okay. What's next on the agenda? Now, okay, we can look at this 9. We have to have a digit as close to 9 as possible, because everything... Well, I guess that's not actually true, is it? Because this could still be like a 3. And I know this doesn't work with this, but in concept, this could be like a 3. This could be a 1, 2, and then the 9 blocks everything else. Okay, so that's not the place to look necessarily. So, what is... Okay, 8s and 9s. Let's think about those. They have to go up here. What else does that tell us? One of these is a 7. Well, I don't know if we can do much with this Dutch Whisper just yet. Or even the German Whisper. There's got to be some way we can ration this out. So let's think about highs and lows. Let's just put a color here for a second. We're going to have either all 3 highs or all 4 highs or all 4 lows. Is that possible, or can either one be ruled out? Because if we're thinking about all 4 highs, the 6 would have to go here. The 9 would have to go here because it can't be 6, 7, or 8. And these would end up being our 7 and our 8. Now, if this is the 6, it would say this is a 1. This would have to be a 2 to finish between the 7 and the 8. And therefore, this would be a 3. Okay, that all does actually work out. So I can't rule out highs. I'm thinking we probably can't rule out low either. Oh yeah, we can. We cannot have these all be low. Now we got it. Since we figured this out, that's what it was. If these are all lows, again, since none of these can be 4s, this one would have to be 4, and that would force us to be a 9. That's not the case. So these are the high digits. And we just said this is 6. This would then be 1. This would be 9. I think we said this was 3, 8, 2, 7. And just like that, we get a lot of digits. All we had to do was ask the correct questions. Let's see if we get that reference. 4, 5 is left over. Now, that's got to do something, right? That's not an 8. Okay, here we go. This is now a 5. So we get a 6, 7 pair here. I thought we might do more there, but we didn't. What else? Any of these look down on here, and none of them do. That's interesting. So we're going to have to find something else. What about you and you? We can go through those and see if there's anything there. I don't think there is right away. And we might just start correlating down to the Dutch Whisper now, but let's look at these real quick. We need 2, 4, and 5. This can't be 4. And that's essentially it that we can rule out. This has to be from 1, 6, and 9. And this is not 6, and that's all that rules out. And these have to be 3, 7, and 8, and nothing gets ruled out there. Awesome. Okay. So, now, again, I was going to say, well, we do have a 5 X-wing. So one of these is 5. That's small potatoes, I guess. We know there's a 1 and an 8 in this row, and a 9. Okay, let's go back to that then, because we have 1s, 8s, and 9s. So this is 1, 8, 9. If that's 1, 8, 9, it forces, what, 2 and 5 here? Again, that doesn't do a huge amount of work for us. We also know one of these is a 7. Is there anything else like that we can hang our hat on? I used the wrong version again. 1, 8, 9, 2s and 4s. We can kind of start filling in what some of these can be, and maybe that's where we want to look. So let's think about what can these 2 digits be. So, cannot be 1 or 2. It could be 3. Cannot be 4. Could be 5 or 6. And that's it. Okay. That might start helping us here, but let's go for this one again before we go there. I think it's the same thing. Again, it can't be 1, can't be 2, could be 3, can't be 4, could be 5, could be 6, and could be 7 here. So there is that 1 extra value here. But let's think about these guys. 3, 5, and 6. Now we have a middle digit, essentially, between 2 others. Now, on a Dutch Whisper, we can put a 5, but it has to strictly be between 1s and 9s. That cannot ever happen here. So this is not 5. So we're looking at either 3 or 6. If it's a 3 or a 6, this can't be 3 or a 5 or a 6, because none of those are 4 away. So this is 7, which forces this to be 3, which means this has to go back up too high. This is not 7, by the way. And of course, this 3 and 7 does not impact this in any way currently. Awesome. So now this 3 can go to the 8 or the 9. There's no restriction there. Let's think about going backwards then. This 7 has to be at least 4 away from 7, which gets it down to 3. We already have a 3, so it's 1 or 2. Let's go back here. Maybe we'll find some more work as it gets this way. So we're thinking about 8s and 9s. So it could be 5, 4, can't be 3, could be 2, could be 1. Well, can't be 5 actually either, so 5 goes away. So again, we remove the option of this being a 5. So it can't do a jump from 9 to 5 down to 1. So this cannot be 1. So therefore, and it can't be 2, 3, or 4. So this has to go back up to 5, 6, no 7, 8, or 9. Well, it can't be 6 either because there. Okay. We're starting to path out what this thing can be. And hopefully, this is the best way to go about this. Okay, I was looking at some other things just to see if I missed anything obvious. So, 5. Again, it can't be 1 because we can't go 1, 5, 1 or something like that. So, okay, so this can't be 5 either. That's what we're looking at because we can't put a 1. No, that's not true. This could be 9, sorry. So this could go up to a 9. if we did 1, 5, 9. Otherwise, it's going downhill again from the 9, 8 pair, which would be 5, which doesn't work, 4, 3 doesn't work, 2 and 1. Not quite there in terms of how this is working, but I think is there a value we haven't used in this line? The 6. There is no 6 in here, so there has to be a 6 in one of these two. That didn't do it. Okay. Just making sure I didn't miss anything up here, and I did not. Okay, so we're going to have to think about how we can make the rest of this puzzle work here. How is that? So I don't know that we can do anything else with this 2 clue yet. Because again, this could be a fairly low digit. It obviously can't be 1 or 2, but it could go down to 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, well, we said we had a 5, so there can't be a 5 in it, at least. It can't be 3, because we said we talked very briefly, mentioned it, but if this is a 3, these have to both be below, which would be 2 and 1, and that would break this. So we're up to 4 or 6. And if this is 4, this has to be either a 1, 2 or a 1, 3. If it's 6, it could have the 4 or the 5 in it. That didn't quite do much for you. I didn't think we could work with this one just yet. But at least we've kind of mapped it out, at least. Okay, let's look elsewhere. Let's go back to base Sudoku for a second. Maybe there's something on the line there. Threes. One of these is a 3. Nah. That's just about all that really does for us. 4s are pretty much the same, yeah. 5s, we know one of these is a 5. We know one of these is a 5. Okay, that helps us because that removes this as a 5. Okay, I just didn't look at that earlier. So we have a 5 here. Okay, there we go. That does give us what we need to finish this guy. Since this is a 5, this now has to cover that 5. So it is 6. And that's going to tell us that this is 6. And what else does it do? Let's see here. Well, let's continue on with this little 5 journey. I don't think we have anything more there, so let's go back and look at our 6s. One of these is 6, but that's not really helpful. Was there anything on our 7s that we may have missed? Okay. No, there isn't. Again, thought I saw something and I didn't. Yeah, because we could still have a 7 in any of these. Okie dokie. 8s, not getting anything out of them. And then 9s, which is the same thing. Okay, so there's some value in here we're missing. What is it? I really thought this guy would be settled by now, And it does not appear to be so. Because I've been scanning the entire time, and nothing at the moment is giving it up. Okay. We know one of these is a 3, but that again doesn't help us. Okay. So let's make sure we've used all of our clues properly. This one's done. This one's done. These are done. This is done. These just have to be sorted by whatever crosses them. This guy seems like he's done as well. Or not done, but can not go any further with it at the moment. What is it? What am I missing here? I don't see it. Because figuring this out, I think, will completely determine the rest of this puzzle. But I'm not seeing where that... So maybe we need to just look at rows and or columns mostly, I think, at the moment. And just think about those. If there's something in here that we're just missing a small little number that could give us what we need. Fives. Oh, this is a 6-5 pair. I don't know why I didn't see that right off the bat, which gives us the 5, which does what we need. Okay, there it was. It was pretty simple, but had to go back and look closely. If this is a 5, this has to be a 1-9 pair. So this is 1 who's texting me. This is 9. This is 8. That forces this to be 2. Now we should be able to start running with this. This is 1. These are not. This is not 9. And what else? This digit here is a given, and it's 4. Okay, that does get up and give us 5 and 4. This can no longer be 4. This has to be 5. This is not. Okay, now we've got these 2 digits left over. What do we need? We need a 7 and a 9. That's gonna do it. 7, 9, 8, 9, 6, and 7. That gives us 9 and 6. That forces this to be 9, this to be 8. Okay. We got to it eventually. It really was just finding the little... this clue right here is really what it was, and I just kind of overlooked it for a little while. That gives us the 1, 2, 4, and 8, if I can get that correctly. This is 9. This 2 gives us 3 and 2. This 3-8 pair gives us a 7. That 8 goes here now. This is 3. This can't be 2 or 4, so it's 5. So this is 6 and 5. This is therefore 2, and this is 4. And we get the 5. What is this? 6 and 3, right? So this is 3, and this is 6. Therefore, this is 3. Good, good, good. This is not 3. Have the 1, 2s been solved? They have not. This is not 7, though. Okay, what are these 2 guys? We need a 1, and we need a 4. So we go 1, 4. And then these 2 must be 3 and 7. So we go 7 and 3. And then a 7. This has to be from 1 or 2. This has to be from 1 or 2, and it's not 1. There we go. 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, and we are down near the end of it. This has to be 4. What do these two have to be? 1 and 4 as well. So this is 4, and this is 1. And then this is our 8, and this is our 2. Right, there we go. 3509. Getting stuck a little bit there, but we found it eventually. Again, it was base Sudoku that we had to kind of revert to see what was what to get us to the end of the line. But that was a lot of fun. Like I said, it had a lot of rules in it, but all of those rules worked together quite lovely to make this thing work together. And you did have to use the combinations of each of the rules and not just a single rule per session, essentially, to figure it out. You had to think about them in correlation. So that's beautiful. I loved it. Another excellent puzzle by Vedvart. I hope you all enjoyed this one, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot.